All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the session. Today, we're going to talk about the listing preparation you can do for Prime Day. So thank you once again. My name is Jun Liang. I'm the trainer here at the Amazon Seller Education team. And later on, I will have Sean from the Global Selling team, who is an onboarding specialist, who will join us for the Q&A later on. So meanwhile, you'll stick with me for now. All right. So before we begin, right, the recording for today and also the recording in the past webinar that was recorded, you can view it on the YouTube playlist over there. And then if you have any questions that you have, please put it in the Q&A box and we will address it at the end. So last but not least, right, if you were to view this recording, maybe in a few months down the road, right, do make sure that to check back onto Seller University or Seller Central for the most up-to-date information. Please take a quick glance on this important notice. All right, we're gonna head right into it. Today, this is what we'll be covering. So there's basically just 5 key agenda that we're covering. We'll go to the first one, which is on the preparation for peak season, more on the listing completeness. All right, so I'm going to introduce you to the core elements of listing. So these are the 8 core elements: title, product image, bullet point, description, search term, A+ content, browse node, and brand name. I'll go through each one of it, and throughout before and you can understand why these are the core elements and how important it is that you can leverage on this core element to ensure that your listing is complete. Okay, first one, the browse node, right? There's a little bit of word here. I'm just making it slightly easy for you. So you just read through the underlying text. And if you need more context or more detail, you can review the recording and read through, or you can take a photo later maybe. All right, so the browse node basically is the categorization of your product. So it makes it easier for your seller to find your product. And then with the right browse node, right, your customers can further narrow down their search by selecting specific product, the category or the subcategory as they browse and shop through Amazon. The next one is search terms. So it is just the words that describe your product. Why is it important? Because the accurate and meaningful search term will actually help to increase the chance of your product being found in the search. Next is the product image. So we know when we shop around Amazon, right? The main image is usually the first image that is displayed. While shopping, it will also appear in the search result, as well as the other pages where your product will appear. So the quality of the main image, right, significantly impact the click-through rate. And then we do see the high quality image has better conversion rate and product search ranking. Okay, the fourth one is the product title. So this is typically the most intuitive and clearest part when the first thing that the customer sees. It tells the customer or your shopper what the product is about. So well-formed product title really help your buyer to make informed purchasing decision faster, and it will also affect your click-through rate and exposure as well. All right, the fifth point is bullets point. So we do have data that show that well-written data point help improve sales. So to keep it concise and informative, the bullet point will help your customer learn more about your product and understand the unique characteristics. So there are some tips over there that you can take into consideration. What do you need to include in the bullet points? Next thing is the product description. So the product description should supplement the bullet points. It is something that is more specific and detailed than the bullet point. All right, so to give you an idea, right, writing this will help consumer imagine what it would be like to actually use or own your product. So the tip here is to put yourself in your buyer or your shopper's shoes and try to understand what do they want to feel and touch and think and receive just by reading the description. Okay, the next one is on A+ content or premium A+ content. So this is only available for brand owner, meaning that seller who are registered under the Amazon brand registry. So using this A+ content, right, it is in fact a combination of pictures and text. So you can do a little bit more than the normal listing, because the A+ content, by using this, you can show your actual scenario of the product via rich graphics. You can include videos and more. So I will explain a little bit more on A+ content in the slides down. So these also greatly increase the attractiveness of the product page, and that will also help to convey your brand information and lead to better conversion as well. All right, lastly is a brand name. Now, if you are a registered brand seller, you would have a brand name. So do put this into your product title as well. If you have a brand name, that will also give your consumer, your shopper, an enhanced trust and loyalty, and also increase the conversion and repurchase rates. I hope you are all still with me. So if you have any questions, please use the Q&A box. So this is what I was talking about earlier on, the listing completeness score. So in a way, this is something that we will recommend seller to try to set 80 points as your so-called benchmark. So the point system is something more like a guiding principle here. So that will help you ensure that you are having a good listing. So these are some of the components I was sharing earlier on. With each component, you can try to add up whether you have like 80 to 100 or 70 to 79. So the whole idea is that if you are at the lower end of the score, try to improve it and move up to a higher grade of the completeness grade. All right. And then putting in the right information is important, but do also know that if you are putting in the wrong or negative info, that will also have an impact. And when you are missing out some of these core listing element these are the common issue we do see, like there's incorrect categorization, an incorrect browse node, or you have a missing search term, or you put an incorrect brand name, or you have actually like fewer than 3 images, or your image is too low quality that it doesn't support zooming. So these are just some what I call the negative impact that we do see across the different stores, right? And this is based on our internal data that we do see that a complete listing, so a listing with an A grade that you've seen earlier on, does have a higher order volume as compared to listing who are at grade B to below. Okay, so this is about the A+ content. Now the brand owner, again, this is only available for brand owners. You can unlock this feature once you are registered in the Amazon brand registry. So you can use this enhanced brand content to describe your product. All right, these are the features that include, so enhanced brand content, just like you see earlier on, is just mean EBC. So you can put in more details about your product features. All right. And then there is a lot more other columns, etc., that you can leverage to even include more, such as a carousel display, or you can have images with a text tab. And there are ways that you can link your product based on the images to the other, to your brand stores directly. So these are the benefits that by using A+ content, there is an increase of conversions, helps to promote the product brand story, facilitate repeat purchase, communicate your brand value, etc. And then, of course, nice looking listing will eventually help to bring in more visits as well. So how do you actually make a good A+ content? I do have some good examples over here. So how can you do a good A+ content is to follow the A+ content user guide. All right, ensure that you do not use any restricted or prohibited words, and try to use the tiles and diverse templates that is available inside. This is something I'll go through later as well on the different tiles available and different templates, and have a balanced use of your text and images. And if you are able to use a standard comparison chart, this is something that we see very popular among the sellers using A+ content. All right, so the tiles that I'm referring to are something like you see over here. All right, so there are a total of 16 visualization tiles with various styles, but in each of the listing, you can use up to only 5. Okay, so you can mix and match and combine different tiles in your per listing. So to see how best it can portray your content out, you can mix and match and play around. But I'll share some guides in the next few slides. Right, so the banner picture tile helps to enhance the visual effect, and is usually used at the top to kind of bring in more attraction, to capture the attention of your shoppers. Right, and the second one that you use, it can also be good for showing everything about product. The 3-column layout like this, 1, 2, and 3-column layout. Right, you can include things like your picture, your brand introduction, or any form of specification, such as your packaging, etc. All right, so this one is the 3 or 4 graphic text template. So it's a combination of a graphic and the text. You can see the left one is like 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 4 graphic template. All right, and then there is a way to enable so that the selecting of the different images will show different information. All right, and then there is also the 3 graphic text template. Yep. So you can use this to show your main selling point, design detail. So there are other templates or what we call the tiles available. You can use one of these to showcase if you need a little bit more information, to put in the text. It could be to explain your product guides, or you could explain your brand story. Now the right side is the what we call the standard comparison chart. Over here, you can do a comparison if you have like competitors or competing products against yours. You can just list it here to show what's your selling point, your unique selling point, your advantage or benefits, or the features that you have and your competitors do not have. All right, so this is a general guideline that we see will be a good start. So the first one that you want to show is usually the big image header with a text to capture the attention. And then the second one is a little bit more info just to pick the interest of your shopper. All right, third one, you will have a little bit more, such as the different maybe product feature or each of the products that you have. So it increase your chance of being shown in your search results. All right. So lastly, yep, that will be a typical template that you can follow through. Right, use your A+ content to showcase your product function and convey your brand information. So this will create a unique listing that is different from the rest that you've seen. All right, next, let's take a look at the the content case analysis that we see here. So what do you think? Do you think this is a good one? Like, are they showing the right information? Is it too many or too few? Are they, using the mix and match of the styles correctly? Is it too many white space, etc.? So this is something that you can think of when you're trying to create your A+ content on your listing. So this one we can see, right, there's actually some of it is either too many or too few content tiles. And a lot of the same tiles has been using repeatedly, right? There's no variation, right? And the graphical text does not really match the selected tiles. Too much white space as well. Okay, let's look at the next one, right? Right, I know this is in Japanese text. Sometimes I think text do make a difference in terms of the culture as well, but let's just assume these are English. Right, what do you see? Do you think this is a good A+ content? Yes, or why not? Right, it seems rather good, right? There's nice image, etc. There are product feature popping up, right? But of course, there are still ways to improve it. Now, on the first one on the left, we do see that the color scheme is inconsistent, right? It's a little bit of a reddish black theme above, and then the product below is a little bit like white bluish, right? There's no unified experience, I would say. All right, so I'm not going to talk too much on the Japanese style, all right, because I think different culture will have different um, thoughts regarding the so-called Japanese styles, all right? But in general, we do see like it may not be consistent. That is the general theme that we see. So the right one, you can see that there is what we call the combination is probably can be improved further. All right, there's too much text in the picture. Font too small, hard to read. I think yeah, partly reason is they actually embedded, or rather they put in the text as part of the images as well. So you can see it's pretty cluttered. All right. Um, Over here, yeah. So you can see that these content, they actually try to put in the wording together with the images. So when they put it in and together with the text, it just looks a little bit too much. All right. But then again, this for Japanese, and I know that typically um, Japanese do see a lot of text in their content. Okay, next one, let's take a look at this. All right, and yeah, again, these are all just for reference and have a thought through it. There's definitely ways to improve it. Some of the good points we see is that the picture is high definition. I know this is subjective. Can't really tell whether it's really high definition, but this is what we see. It's high definition. You do have a good mix of words. The text is not on the image, but rather on the below the image itself. All right, and then the right side is there's a good use of the combination of graphic and text. Honestly, if you look at it, it does look a little bit more appealing compared to the previous example, right? Okay, I hope you're all still with me. Next, I'm going to talk about the stores. All right. So this one is the Amazon store. So you can create your own store in your Amazon page, but this is only available for brand seller who are registered in the Amazon brand registry. So once you are registered, you can unlock this feature under the it's one of the ads product. You can create your own store to showcase your brands, your other brand products in your single page. It's like a website that you own on Amazon.com. All right. So with this store, right, the benefit is that you can tell your brand story, you can design a store without coding, you can boost your website traffic with the sponsored brand ads. So some other features available, you can have your own URL. It's usually like this, amazon.com/ your brand name behind, all right? And then you can optimize your campaign using your store insights. Once you create your store, you'll be able to see some of this data available, right? And you can create a unique store. There's different based on the combination or what do you actually use or design your brand store. So this is how it looks like. Once you have the feature unlocked, there are different components. There is a page manager, preview portal, module manager, and the status bar on top. Right, so I think this is hard to convey here, but once you got access, it's easier for you to go in and play around on the different features available. But just note that there are these features available for you to, elevate your brand using a brand store. All right, these are just some guidelines that we do see on how you plan your navigations. All right. Okay, this is a homepage. This is an Amazon basic home Amazon store. Right, you can see how nice it looks, but basically you can go and search for it after the sessions. Most of the top brands would have their brand store created on Amazon, so you can look at how each of the different brand actually designs and categorizes their Amazon store. All right, this is to give you a look and feel of how it's going to look like if you have your own Amazon store. So you can design the way how your product is being displayed. All right, you can start with your broad categories. You can have a title and main image. So all this is done without any coding involved. So you can do it on yourself. You do not need any web developer or web coders to do it. Okay, these are some ideas that you can see. When you have your store set up, you can have a different product listed just below your banner. All right, okay. All right, there are also some features available built in, so you don't have to list your product one by one. There's a feature promotion widget. So basically, to make your store look great, right? These are some of the what you need to consider. Clarify your brand position, what is your brand strength, and then try to refine the content and the media you're going to use, and then implement the style that you think that suits your brand. Right? You can, consider these are the brand diagram that we see, how to invoke the emotions to upgrade your brand emotional experience with a multi-dimensional sensory experience. All right, these are the common details that we see. Will kind of help to evoke that kind of sensory experience. You gave your shopper an idea how your products are being made and where is it being made to reflect the genuinity of your brands. All right, show your brand visions and history to strengthen the brand effects. All right, the fourth one I'm going to share with you is the product videos. This is one of the features available. Right, so you can create product videos for your product. And then what the importance are, we do see that customers who watch a video are 3.6 times more likely to make a purchase than those who don't, which is why we would have the recommendations for the videos. And here are the specifications. All right, keep it under 90 seconds, and then try to keep the aspect ratio within 16.9 or 4.3. And then your video should be smaller than 5 GB. All right, have a clear and smooth, and then the sound should be smooth and even. And in the video, do not use any terms that is restricted. So this is where the videos normally will appear if you have a video for your listing. So on the image portion where the shopper select, there's one icon like this, and then they can look at the videos. So some tips here for making your first rate videos. All right. So the color scheme, you have to fit it with the characteristic of your product. Be consistent with your brand color scheme. Your text should be short and concise, not too distracting. Right, have a narrative. What is the selling point? And then allow your shopper to see the product in action, etc. Yep, you can take into consideration to creating your first video. But this is where you can upload a video. And again, this feature is also available to brand owner. So once you are registered under the Amazon brand registry, you can have this feature to upload video for your listing. All right, these are just some examples for you to reference. Like for luggage, you focus on water resistant, capacity, and how is it being used. And then for shoes, things like the product details, some demonstrations of the key feature. Yep. So for consumer electric products, there will be things like showing the lifestyle, how the product is being used on a day-to-day basis, what is the key selling point, and how does it look like when it's being used. Right? And then for things like pet supplies, the video may consist of the feature of the product, how to assemble or how to clean it, and how is it being used with your pet. All right. Okay, so there are some important points about your product videos that you need to take note of. Now, first of all, there should be no third-party advertising allowed. So meaning that the product should consist of the product that you are showing on the listing, that should not be featuring of any other brands or other product, right? And number two, your video content should center on the product selling point, lifestyle imagery or setup. So basically the example that I've shown in a few slides before. And third point is your content product video should not violate any laws or regulations. Yep, these are quite straightforward. And then number four as well, if you are using any copyrighted video images or any music and fonts, yep, do note that that is something, if required, need to get it, as you need to make sure that you are authorized to use those copyrighted informations. Okay, the last point we're going to talk about is about improving your brand position, right? So what can you do? First thing is your brand image, right? Try and align with the brand mission and articulate your brand value proposition. So these are just some, example. When you first think of like Windows, what do you think of? What is their brand image like when you think of Uniqlo and IKEA? All right. So if you have a brand, do think of like what you expect or what you want your shopper to be associating your brand with. All right, next one, the brand image. Determine the brand elements to support your visualization. After you have a brand mission, right, the one that you did the previous slide, you can try to use your keyword to define the tone, the element, and the lifestyle of the brand image. So this is again an example. All right, this is a brand that makes smart camera design for pets. All right, and their brand mission is to keep your dog safe and happy even when you're not at home. Now with this, right, they kind of determine which is their keyword and what kind of the tone, the element, the lifestyle they want to position and portray their brands, right? And with that, right, it helps them to create a unified brand image centered on their brand mission, right? So you can see how it ties back to their brand image. It's warm, bright, and then it's talking about the dog feeling happy and safe at home with the camera that kind of monitors the pet. All right, the lifestyle is something a furnished home. Okay, I'm going to share another one. So this is also another brand story. All right, this example two. Right, um, this is based on uh infant shoes brand. All right, and then the brand mission is for every steps. Okay. The audience they are looking at is actually new mothers, and then the lifestyle is something like a 1-year-old baby that's learning to walk. All right. So you can create your own brand stories that you can think of that will help you focus on what kind of brand images that you're going to use. All right. So this is their brand store. I believe you can still search for it. Right, you can see how it kind of resonate with their shoppers, focusing on their brand mission is to develop the shoes for babies and to keep them safe with their shoes. So this is typically like the few steps that we do see regarding the features available for you to position your brand. Things like A+ content that you can start off with. You can set it up once for your ASIN, and then this is shown in your product listing page, product detail page. And then moving on is you can start to create your stores once you are brand registered. All right. And then last is this new, probably still in beta, is the Amazon post. Right. You can see, I will show you in the next slide, what is it about. So the 3-step brand positioning that I showed earlier on, first is the A+ content. All right. And then next you can focus on is the store. According to the research that we have, customers do spend way longer in a store with more than 3 pages. All right. And then with the brand store, you can run certain ads that will bring in more um, sales according to the research data we have. The next one is the post. I think if you are eligible, you would be able to use this feature. This is under one of the Amazon ads product as well. All right. So this is a place that lets your customers explore your product. It's like a post or like a, how do I put it, like typical social media post that you will see. It will appear on Amazon.com, the app. Okay. So last, I want to share a quick case study on this brand. All right. So what they did, they have a brand story. All right. They launched it in 2019. They launched the stores, and then they have average order price per customer, which increased by 7% after they launched the store. Right, and after more than 2 years, right, they do see that their views of their store are 19 times higher than when it was first launched. And also across the 2 years, they see the conversion rate increased by 10 times higher. And they also leverage Amazon posts, which is about 3 to 4 times a week. And then the engagement rate has grown 23% in less than a year. So you can see how this brand actually leveraged the different features available in Amazon to help elevate their brand and to help to get more sales. All right, if you have any question, please feel free to put in the Q&A. So I'm going to share some good tips, the one-pager guide. This is from created by Seller University. There is 3 useful one-pager guide to help you in terms of your listing, your advertising, and your FBA inventory. So in the different PDF guide inside, there are also links to other useful information. So for example, in the advertising one pager, there is link to another case study on how a seller actually used the ads to bring in more sales for his business on Amazon. So do check it out. So all the links I talk about will also be shared in the video description where I will be sharing the video playback. So don't worry about that. So this is where you can find more Seller University content in your Seller Central if you have access to it. On the navigation, go down to the last one under Learn and you can activate the Seller University page. So over there, you can keep track of your learning progress depending on the topic you are interested in. All right, that's the reference that I've shared. All right, I will go through a few FAQ before I move on to the questions from the registrant, right? So some of the common question that we see is that what if my brand contains a prohibited character like an exclamation mark, TM, etc., right? So what you do is when you're doing your listing, right? So ensure your brand name is entered in the brand name field. So if it does contain some of these prohibited character, it may be exempted. All right. So I would say you will list it first. And then if it got flagged through our system, then you will submit your other supporting document if required to state that that is part of your brand, registered brand, so that you can keep the listing from being suppressed and get it approved, right? So there's another question regarding listing is, does Amazon automatically put a brand name at the start of my title or do I need to do that myself? So we do recommend that you begin title with the product's brand name in addition to ensure the brand name field is populated, right? So there are some system in place to make sure that the brand name is added to the beginning of the title if it's missing. All right, but do try to provide that so that your listing will get, there won't be any issues of your listing getting suppressed or not listed. Yeah. Now, I must be thinking, what if I don't have a brand name? So if your product is a generic brand, something that maybe you private label it or there's no brand name, you don't need to state a brand name in the title. All right, so it can be empty, and then when you are putting up the listing, just ensure that you select that your product don't have a brand name, and then put generic there. So by doing so, you might need to apply for GTN exemption as well, so that you will be able to list it successfully. And again, if you do not have a brand registered, right, some of the feature that I mentioned earlier on, you will not be able to leverage on things like A+ content, things like the Amazon brand store. The next one is, are model number recommended? So this one, I will have to refer you to the category guide. So if your product do have model number, it should appear, but not all categories of product required. So I will share the link that you can check it out, whether or not your product required to have the model number, if any. So next common question is, do I have to enroll my trademark while listing? It is not a must to enroll in brand registry. Now again, if you do enroll, you will be able to unlock those features I mentioned. So which is why we would recommend if you do have a brand and you do see a need to, then you should enroll in the brand registry. However, there are certain fees you need to be aware of when you are applying for the trademark. So do note that it kind of take a bit of time when you're doing the trademark registration. And then the approval is different for different countries. So do check out the different sites. I think for Singapore seller, you need to look at the IPOS website, IPOS. But then again, if you want to be fully protected from infringements, or you want to take down certain counterfeit listing, etc., you will need to have your brand registered in the US. So there's more information, you can take a look. All right. So what are the requirements to sell or list like gated restricted product? So there is a long list. So do your due diligence first, if you can, to look at what are the products that you can or you cannot list it on Amazon. If not, you can also list it first and then look at the manage your compliance dashboard under account health. If any additional documentation is required, it will prompt you on the account health dashboard. All right, these are the questions I got from the registrant. So will the PPT be shared with us? So we will be sharing, but the slides, this recording will be uploaded at our YouTube channel. So that's the QR code. This link will also be shared on your follow-up emails as well. So if you have any other questions that you already put in during registration, but it's not here, you can put it in now because I extracted the question quite early. So if you registered like maybe 2-3 hours before, I may not have captured your question. So the next question I got is, can you discuss more about Amazon arbitrage and Amazon affiliate? So I believe you're referring to the arbitrage, like typically online or offline, where you source for those product offline or online, and then you list it on Amazon and sell it, right? So this is what I see is normally like reselling. So meaning that you get from somewhere that is selling at a lower price, and then you try to sell it at a higher price on Amazon. I would say that things you should consider using this model is that, do you want to fulfill the product with FBA or MFN, or whether or not are they restricted products, and whether or not those products that you want to resell it, or whether or not are they brand gated, meaning that you need approval from the brand to sell it. These are the things you need to consider. And then also use the revenue calculator to also assess, is it worth the time invested in terms of how much potential revenue you can get if you were to resell the product on Amazon. So use that calculator to determine, does it make sense for you to resell, whether or not the price difference is something that is profitable enough for your consideration. All right. And then Amazon affiliate. So I think, if I'm not wrong, you might refer to the affiliate program. So I won't be able to comment much on the affiliate thing because we don't really, I'm not really, aware of, or rather knowledgeable in this area. But I do know that this is something you can check out on the website to look at how the Amazon affiliate works. So basically, I believe you might need to put some script or anything, and then if some shopper would buy some products from your link, you might get some commission fee from that. That's probably what I understand of. But because we don't really manage that program, so I'm not quite sure. But if you're around, let me know if I got your question correctly. All right. I don't have any other questions from the registrant except that too. So let me see if I have any other questions from anyone. Before that, while I'm looking at the question, can you help me do a quick anonymous survey? This is for training and quality purposes. Let me know what you think of your experience today, and what other topics that you think is useful and relevant and you want to find out more. Then I will consider that, and then to have it on a future webinar. But do note that our July webinars are also coming up. There's a few more different topics, so it will be shared on the website shortly. And then if you want to register that, to use the first QR code. It's on our Amazon events and webinar page. All right, and in June we still have 2 more webinars by myself. We have one on primary checklist and what are the merchandising tools available on the Tuesday. All right, and there's another one for perhaps new seller may be more interested is about introduction to FBA. So do put in questions. Let me look at the Q&A right now. All right, I don't see any new questions. So again, the recording will be shared. It will be shared in the link that will be sent to you on the follow-up email, so you can go and view. It's on our official YouTube SEA Global Selling channel, and then the Facebook seller community page. If you're not in yet, do check it out. All right, I will stay online for a few more minutes. So for those who have any questions, please do let me know in the question and answer box. Thank you. Hello, hi everyone. So I will be here for another minute. If there's no more question, I will end the webinar in another minute. But if you do have any, please do let me know now. So we have more session coming up on the June 22nd and also June 27th. We'll be talking about Prime Day. If you're participating in Prime Day, you can join and take note of what are the last minute checklists, what are the merchandising tools available. Even if you're not, that will be very useful because the next event, the next Prime, or rather the next Tier 1 event, peak season is Black Friday, Cyber Monday, which is on November. So it will still be applicable to help you be more prepared on your next up and coming peak season. All right. Thank you once again. I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you for your participation. And again, my name is Jun Liang. I will see you on the next webinar. Have a good day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.